Hi guys, welcome back to Finesse. This time we've put together a fresh lineup of the best thriller movies you can watch in 2025. You'll see everything here: psychological thrillers, action-packed suspense, mystery-driven stories, and a few dark slow burns that keep tightening the grip. We're sure everyone will find something truly gripping to watch across Netflix, Prime Video, Plex, and more. Tell us in the comments which thriller stood out the most for you this year. Well, let's not waste any more time and begin. Number 11. Criminal. Jericho Stewart is a man carved out of violence, unpredictable, volatile, and emotionally hollow, the kind of dangerous soul the world keeps locked away. His life has always been a blunt instrument. No empathy, no attachments, just raw survival. But everything tilts off its axis when a fallen CIA agent's memories are forced into his mind, flooding his cold, fractured world with emotions that were never his. Suddenly, Jericho is stumbling through someone else's life, haunted by fragments of a family he never knew, pursued by intelligence factions that don't trust him, and hunted by ruthless enemies who want the secrets buried in his head. The streets become a battleground of shifting loyalties, blurred identities, and moral crossroads he's never had to face before. As flashes of compassion collide with his brutal instincts, Jericho is pushed into a dangerous tangle of covert agendas, high-stakes espionage, and raw, unfiltered violence. He's no hero, just a broken man trying to navigate the emotional wreckage left inside him. And every step forward forces him to confront a question he's never asked. What does a monster become when he's given someone else's conscience? Criminal is a gritty, nerve-tightening thriller about identity, redemption, and the chaos unleashed when a damaged mind is forced to feel. It's sharp, heavy, and relentlessly tense, a story where memory becomes both a weapon and a lifeline. Number 10. Honest Thief. Tom Dolan has spent years slipping through America's vaults like a whisper, a meticulous craftsman of quiet crimes. Living alone on the edges of Boston, his days are stripped down to routine, restraint, and the weight of a secret life he's no longer proud of. He's a man who's grown tired of running from the echo of his own choices, but his carefully controlled world fractures the moment he decides to turn himself in. What he expects to be a clean break from his past instead detonates into chaos when corrupt agents see an opportunity buried in his confession. An opportunity worth more than truth, more than justice, more than a man's attempt at redemption. Suddenly, Dolan is hurled into a violent scramble for survival, forced to dodge a system that twists every fact in its favor. His quiet attempt to come clean becomes a ruthless chase, pushing him through motel corridors, back alley betrayals, and the thin line between reputation and reality. Even the woman he cares for gets caught in the storm he tried so hard to outrun. Honest Thief is a tense, propulsive crime thriller about a man wrestling not just with the law, but with the burden of becoming better in a world that doesn't believe men like him ever change. It's lean, bruising, and grounded in that raw Liam Neeson energy, where every choice hits like a warning bell, and every moment asks whether redemption is earned or simply chased. Number 9. Christine. Arnie Cunningham is a lonely, awkward teenager slipping through life's cracks. Overshadowed at school, smothered at home, he moves through each day with the quiet desperation of someone who's never truly been seen. His world is small, predictable, and painfully fragile. But everything shifts the moment he discovers an old, decaying Plymouth Fury rotting away in a dusty yard. The car is a wreck. Rusted, broken, barely alive, but something about it strikes Arnie like fate. He brings it home, treating it not as a machine, but as a lifeline. Soon, that harmless restoration project becomes something far heavier. As Arnie pours himself into the car, he begins shedding his old skin, growing sharper, colder, more confident, and more distant. The people who care about him start noticing the change, but the pull of the car is stronger than any warning. One quiet night at a time, strange things begin to stir around the Fury, small tremors in the atmosphere. Shifts that feel impossible to explain. The once ordinary streets take on a meaner, more watchful energy, as if something is stalking just beyond the glow of the headlights. It captures the ache of teenage loneliness, the seductive comfort of something that feels like unconditional acceptance, and the unnerving realization that some attachments take far more than they give. Number 8. The Northman. Amleth, a prince born under a storm-split sky, grows up with one truth carved into his bones. Destiny demands a debt. Raised in a world of savage rituals and ironclad loyalty, he watches his childhood shatter in a single violent moment. From that night on, his life becomes a relentless march through the frozen edges of the Norse wilderness, fueled by a vow he repeats like a heartbeat. As he drifts across rough seas and brutal war camps, Amleth becomes a creature shaped by rage and prophecy, half man, half myth. His days blur into a haze of battle cries, burning villages, and the constant thrum of something ancient calling his name. Yet beneath all that fury, there's a quiet, aching question gnawing at him. Is he following fate, or is fate consuming him? His journey drags him into the shadowy corners of Viking life, where slaves whisper forgotten magic, where warriors bleed for honor, and where everyone carries a secret they'd rather die with. In the middle of this chaos, he crosses paths with a mysterious woman whose spirit feels just as feral and wounded as his. Together, they navigate a world that feels part nightmare, part legend. The Northman is a primal, hallucinatory odyssey, a story drenched in mud, myth, and the metallic taste of vengeance. It's harsh, hypnotic, and brutally human, asking whether a man chasing revenge can still recognize the person he used to be. Number 7. Lawless. Forrest Bondurant is a walking myth in the hills of Franklin County, quiet, unshakable, and rumored to be invincible. Running moonshine with his brothers on the mud-soaked backroads of Prohibition, Virginia, Forrest treats danger the way others treat weather, something you simply endure. But their rough, rhythmic routine shatters when a slick, cruel special deputy arrives, an outsider with a porcelain smile and a hunger for control. Overnight, the Bondurant world tilts, and that dusty empire built on grit, loyalty, and backwoods bravado finds itself under siege. Suddenly, the brothers are dragged into a bruising collision of pride and power, where each decision feels like a coin flip between survival and annihilation. Their home, once a sanctuary of bootleg liquor and brotherly code, becomes a battleground where corruption, fear, and violence spread like wildfire. Lawless is a raw, blood-warm crime saga about men who carry their reputations like armor and their scars like scripture. It's humid, tense, and steeped in rural myth-making, asking whether you can hold on to your legend when the world is determined to break it apart. Number 6. Two for the money. Brandon Lang is a man stuck between who he was and who he's trying to become. Once a rising football talent, now sidelined by injury, he drifts through life working small jobs and clinging to the faint echo of the player he used to be. His days feel stalled, muted, like he's waiting for something big to jolt him awake. That jolt arrives in the form of Walter Abrams, a slick, magnetic powerhouse in the world of sports predictions. Walter spots Brandon's strange, almost instinctive gift for reading games, and in a heartbeat pulls him into a gleaming, high-pressure world where confidence is currency and every call can flip a fortune. Suddenly, Brandon is surrounded by sharp suits, louder phones, and the intoxicating rush of being right, of being needed. But beneath all that flash and adrenaline lies a darker ecosystem. Addiction dressed as ambition, loyalty that snaps under heat, and a mentor whose charm hides his own cracked edges. As Brandon gets swept deeper into this neon-lit kingdom of risk and reward, he's forced to face a dangerous truth, that success here demands more than talent. It demands pieces of you, and the higher he climbs, the more the ground underneath him begins to shift. Two for the Money is a tightly wound drama about fragile egos, seductive power, and the cost of letting someone else shape your destiny. Number 5. Bullet Train. Ladybug, a hyper-cautious operative, is desperate to shed his history of chronic misfortune. Years of assignments ending in mass chaos have finally taught him to prioritize Zen over havoc. He's dedicated to a new, non-violent philosophy. But this gentle resolution is immediately tested the moment he boards a high-speed train cutting across Japan for what he believes is his simplest, most forgettable task yet. This sleek modern vessel becomes a pressurized chamber of intersecting fates. In its neon-lit compartments lurk other deadly passengers, each one concealing a dangerous mission, a deep personal scar, and a rapidly shortening fuse. Ladybug's vow to keep things easy and non-violent dissolves as the train hurtles deeper into its journey, forcing him into a tight, enclosed space brimming with deceit, pitch-black humor, and quickly escalating threats. As identities, secrets, and violent agendas involuntarily collide in this metal corridor, Ladybug is pulled back into the dizzying, lethal dance he was trying to escape. Every new face is connected to an inescapable past, every sudden stop risks total anarchy, and every mile of track pulls him further from the peaceful life he's committed to building. Bullet Train is a kinetic, stylish shot of adrenaline, a high-stakes convergence of violent people on the run from their own histories, all colliding at unstoppable velocity. Number 4. She Rides Shotgun. Nate, a recently freed ex-con with danger stitched into every corner of his past, wants nothing more than to stay invisible. He's a man trying to outrun the ghosts he once served, a man who has learned, too late, that violence always circles back. But the moment he steps out of prison, the world he abandoned comes roaring toward him with teeth bared, and it forces him to do the one thing he never planned for: take his quiet, wary daughter with him on the run. Polly, just 11, but older in spirit than she should ever have to be, is pulled from her ordinary life into a violent undercurrent she never knew existed. What begins as a simple, terrified escape becomes a harsh education in survival. Every unfamiliar highway, every dim motel room, every stranger's stare turns into a test of trust, of instinct, of the fragile bond between a father trying to make amends and a daughter who barely knows who he is. The open road becomes their cage and their classroom. Shadowy pursuers close in from all directions, faces Nate hoped he'd never see again, debts he hoped he'd never have to repay. And as the journey deepens, the world outside the windows grows sharper, meaner, more unforgiving. Polly must learn to read the danger he tries desperately to shield her from, while Nate discovers that redemption is heavier and more fragile than any weapon he has ever carried. With every mile, their connection twists tighter, and the threats press closer. Trust becomes currency, silence becomes strategy, and survival becomes a brutal duet neither of them can perform alone. She Rides Shotgun is a lean, hard-edged road thriller, an emotional collision between blood ties and buried sins, all unfolding at a relentless, breath-stealing pace. Number 3. Escape from Pretoria. Tim Jenkin, a meticulous and soft-spoken activist, is thrust into a world where every step is monitored, every glance measured, and every sound amplified into a potential threat. Years of careful resistance and quiet rebellion have taught him patience, but now that patience is tested behind the high walls of one of South Africa's most notorious prisons. What seemed like a confined, orderly sentence soon becomes a labyrinth of tension, strategy, and suppressed desperation. Within these stark, echoing corridors, ingenuity is as vital as courage. Every lock, every patrol, every seemingly trivial routine carries the weight of life or death stakes. Tim's mind becomes a battlefield of precision, calculating angles, timing movements, and fashioning improbable tools from the barest materials. The prison's rigid monotony conceals danger at every turn, transforming routine days into nerve-jangling tests of wit and will. As alliances form and trust is measured in glances and half-spoken words, the plan for freedom takes shape like a slow-burning fuse. The confined space of cell blocks and guarded passages becomes a pressure cooker, amplifying tension, suspicion, and urgency. Each decision, each improvisation pulls Tim deeper into a meticulous, pulse-quickening chess match where failure carries consequences heavier than bars and walls. Escape from Pretoria is a taut, immersive thriller. A calculated, quiet storm of intellect, patience, and nerve. It's not about explosions or spectacle. It's about the raw intensity of a man engineering his own freedom, one careful move at a time. Number 2. 99 Homes. Dennis Nash, a construction worker drowning under the weight of bad luck and worse timing, is fighting to hold on to the last fragile pieces of his life. Every day feels like a countdown, bills piling up, work drying out, and the sense that the world is moving just a little faster than he can keep pace with. But the real blow arrives without warning. A knock on the door that shatters his home, his routine, and the thin sense of stability he's been clinging to. The eviction is swift, clinical, and merciless. Within minutes, Dennis, his mother, and his young son are displaced into the humid Florida heat, forced into a low-rent motel buzzing with desperation. What begins as a single disaster quickly becomes a maze of impossible choices. And at the center of that maze waits Rick Carver, a real estate operator with a polished smile, a steel spine, and an empire built on other people's collapses. Carver's world is a pressure cooker of flipped deeds, loopholes, and deals struck in dim rooms where morality is optional. When Dennis steps into this orbit, his life becomes a tightrope walk over a pit of consequences. Every job, every signature, every quiet order whispered across a poolside meeting pushes him deeper into a system designed to chew people up. The more Dennis rises in Carver's world, the more he risks losing the very people he's trying to protect. 99 Homes unfolds like a slow, tightening grip. A thriller fueled not by gunfire, but by the cold terror of financial survival and the unsettling ways people justify their decisions when backed against the wall. Number 1. Ex Machina. Caleb, a quietly brilliant programmer, is blindsided when he's selected for what sounds like the opportunity of a lifetime. Years of routine coding suddenly give way to something far stranger and far more intimate, a private invitation to spend a week inside the sealed-off mountain estate of his company's elusive CEO. What he expects to be a simple research assignment quickly reshapes into something sharper, colder, and far more dangerous. This high-tech sanctuary, equal parts fortress, laboratory, and psychological maze, becomes a pressure chamber where every room watches, every word echoes, and every interaction feels engineered. Deep in this controlled environment waits Ava, an artificial intelligence with a face of calm curiosity and eyes that seem to swallow every detail whole. Caleb's task is straightforward on paper: determine whether she truly thinks. But the longer he speaks with her, the more the boundaries between experiment and emotion start to warp. As conversations turn charged and the walls hum with hidden surveillance, Caleb is pulled into a web of unreadable intentions. His host's charming confidence masks something volatile. Ava's gentle poise hides something sharper. And Caleb soon finds himself trapped between intellect, instinct, and the unnerving possibility that he's the one being studied. With every session, the air tightens, the stakes rise, and the line between machine and human begins to blur in ways he never expected. Ex Machina is a sleek, cerebral descent into trust, manipulation, and control. A suffocating dance between three isolated minds locked inside a minimalist labyrinth. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the list, make sure to like and subscribe. Drop your favorite thriller in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video on Finesse.